Today we're going to talk about mixed numbers and improper fractions. Our I can statement is, I can change a mixed number to an improper fraction and an improper fraction to a mixed number. Well, we talked the last time about fractions, and we were really able to nail down, okay, what does 1/3 look like? What does 3/4 look like? And we also plotted it on number lines. Well, today we're going to talk about a mixed number. A mixed number is a number that has both a whole number and a fraction. It means I have 3 whole items and some extra. A mixed number, it's called a mixed number because you see that there is a fraction paired with a whole number. An improper fraction is going to have a bigger number on top than it does on bottom. 10 is definitely bigger than 3. So this right here is an improper fraction because it has a bigger number on top than it does on bottom. A mixed number is going to have a whole number paired with a fraction. This means 3 4/7. So we're going to work today first on being able to show where these are on a number line. Well, we talked about 1/3, we've talked about 3/4. All of these fall before the 1 on the number line. It means they're in between 0 and 1. But mixed numbers and improper fractions are going to be more than 1. It means that these ones right here, they are less than 1 because they're part of a whole. These ones make up a whole or more than one whole. So we'll start with the 3 4/7. It might be tough on my number line because I kind of drew it a little weird, a little wonky. So I know that they're going to be bigger than the 1. The first thing I have to do is find the whole number. So I'm going to go all the way to the 3. This is my whole number. Right here, that's how many whole pizzas I have. This is where I'm going to start. I have a fraction afterwards, so I need to go about 4/7, which is a little more than halfway, which would be right about there on my number line. We are going to do more of these when you come to the table, but I want you to see this is how much it's valued at. That's the value of that number, 3 and some extra. Not quite 4, because if it was 4, we would take this number and make it 4. It's not quite 4. So let's then try this this next one. That's 10/3. That means that I have items and they're cut into 3 pieces. Okay, so I have 10 of those items that are cut into 3 pieces. Well, one whole is cut into 3 pieces. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. If I were to show that as a fraction, it would be 3/3. But I need 10, so I'm going to keep counting. 4, 5, 6. Now I have 6/3 because they're still cut into 3 pieces. All right, I need to get to 10. 7, 8, 9. Now I have 9/3. And then finally, I'm going to end here because that gives me 10/3, and that's my improper fraction. 10/3 is how I would say that. So these numbers are very similar because this one's still 3 wholes and some extra for my improper fraction, but my mixed number is 3 wholes and 4/7. So that one actually is bigger if we were to look at which one's bigger. So the question is, how do I change an improper fraction to a mixed number, or how do I get a mixed number to an improper fraction? We'll start with mixed numbers. This is a mixed number because it has a whole number here and a fraction out to the side. This is a mixed number. When I have a mixed number and I want to get it to an improper fraction, there are reasons why I would turn it to an improper fraction. But if I need to, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get mad at that fraction, that mixed number. I'm going to get mad. MAD stands for multiply, kind of like our PEMDAS stood for something. This one is multiply add and denominator, or the bottom number. Okay? So here's why we've come up with this little acronym. Because when I need to figure out what my mixed number is, or how to turn my mixed number to an improper fraction, I'm first going to take and multiply the denominator by the whole number. I do this because there are 2 whole pizzas, and they are cut into 4 pieces. So I first need to find out how many pieces are in those whole pizzas. So I do 2 times 4 first. That's where my multiply comes in. Well, 2 times 4 first gets me 8. Now I'm all done with that part. These numbers have been used. I still need to do my adding next. So then I'm going to take my numerator and I'm going to add it to those pieces. Because it said, hey, I have 2 full pizzas, and those full pizzas are cut into 4 pieces, that's 8. But then I had a few extra sitting on the side. So I'm going to add those in, and I get 11. And then I'm ready for this part, the D. The D stands for denominator. It means I'm going to keep the same denominator. I'm going to put it over 4. So I have now turned this mixed number into an improper fraction, 11 over 4. Let's say I want to take a improper fraction and make it a mixed number. Well, when I look at this right here, I can see that the 8 is bigger than the 2. It's kind of like if this was a balance beam here, and I'm trying to balance this big old triangle, because 8 is big, on this little tiny triangle, because 2 is small. So what's going to happen here is this little tiny triangle going to be able to balance this big number on top? Probably not. So what's actually going to happen is that 8 is going to tip over. Hold on, I don't like that color. That 8 is going to tip over, and it's going to make a division problem, because all fractions are division problems. So it tips into the house, and the 2 is on the outside, and we go ahead and we divide. Okay, well, 2 goes into 8. Boop. 4 times. We were really lucky in this one. It came out to an even number. This improper fraction is the same as saying I have 4 holes. This would be like pizzas. They're cut. I have boop, 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 and they're cut into halves. And I have 8 halves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This right here is the same as this fraction. They're cut into halves, and I have 8 of them, which is the same thing as 4 whole pizzas, because I put those halves together. Alright, so let's look at these two. I have an improper fraction on the top, and I have a mixed number on the bottom. I know it's a mixed number because the number is bigger. I know it's a mixed number because there's a whole number with a fraction. So we are going to take these numbers and we're going to change them to the opposite one. So if I have 9 over 4, my top is bigger, and remember, it's going to get super duper wobbly, and that 9 is going to fall into the house, and that 4 is going to be on the outside. This one's not going to be as pretty as the last one where we get a whole number, because I have 9 items. How many groups of 4 can I make? And 2 groups of 4 is 8, and subtract. Well, remember how I told you we put decimals in there and we can drop down a 0? Don't do that. Don't do that on this, because we want an actual fraction. So we're going to really pay attention to this 1 at the bottom. We're going to really pay attention to this 2 at the top, and we have to check out that 4 because that's our denominator. So we start, I don't want it to be yellow. Let's make it a different color. Let's make it blue. So we're going to keep this denominator the same. I made 2 full pizzas, so there's my mixed number. But I had 1 piece left over. So I have 2 full pizzas, that came from the top. My 4 was my denominator, and I had 1 piece left over. So this is the same thing as 9 over 4. Well, down here, we need to get mad. So we're going to multiply our whole number by our denominator, and we know that 4 times 7 is 'Then I need to add. I got to add in that 3. And then my last one is my denominator. I keep my denominator the same. So this is the same thing as this. All right, so today you have an assignment. It's going to be the practice 9-3. I want you to go ahead and give it a try. Numbers 1 and 2 are just showing improper fractions. So you're writing an improper fraction and a mixed number for 1 and 2. When you get down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you are taking those improper fractions, those things like here, and you are making them mixed numbers. We'll practice a little bit at the table, but you should be able to go ahead and get started. The next one, 9 through 14, you're taking all those mixed numbers and you're making them improper fractions. This one should be a little less challenging because you multiply and then you add and keep the denominator the same. Remember, you can come back to my video at any time and listen to it again and remind yourself, this is what I do for improper fractions. This is what I do for mixed numbers if I need to get them to the opposite side. All right, I'll see you at the table. Happy mathing.